Hey everybody, welcome to the Stop Playing podcast with Sham and Shaka. I'm Sham.
I'm Shaka. How you doing?
I'm all right.
I feel like it's been a while.
Not really. We were just here last week.
Yeah. Now, 2 weeks ago, I said that we wouldn't record last week, and then we snuck one in.
Yes, we did a post-holiday edition.
Yeah, and you know what, guys? I was asking Sham to talk about stuff that we talked about last week, which tells you all you need to know about my mindset last week.
Your weeks are running together.
Well, not just that, but last weekend was a blur.
Yeah. There was a lot going on.
A lot going on. Yeah, that's right. We talked about the birthday and all that. Yeah,
it's all of that. So look, you know how I love reality shows.
Yes.
I watch them like literally every day.
And you know, I can't frown upon it because we've talked about Cheaters, and Cheaters is a reality show.
Clearly, it's a reality show.
I now have to put myself in that camp specifically for that show, but go ahead.
So I was watching the other day, actually yesterday, I was watching Growing Up Hip Hop Atlanta,
So that's the one with Bow Wow?
Which stars Bow Wow.
Oh, no, I was asking. No, I just wanted to ask. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Which stars Bow Wow. He's executive producer. JD's daughter is in it. DJ Hurricane.
Bow Wow's the executive producer of the show?
He's one of the executive producers. Yes.
Oh, okay. I thought JD was.
He might be one of them too.
Okay. Okay.
So JD's daughter is on there. Bow Wow's on there. They brought in Lil Mama this season. She's actually managed by MC Light, so she makes some appearances.
Okay.
DJ Hurricane's
still looking
daughter,
good too, ain't
she looks great. Like black
MC Light
is
looks
not
so good.
cracking on her.
Yes.
At all.
Yes.
And it's funny because she and Lil Mama actually look alike. Like when you see them in scenes together, I'm like, wow, this is like MC Light.
And you say, are they related, or you said she's manager?
No, she's her manager.
Okay.
And they added Deb Antony is on there, but she's been on there since the inception. Waka Flocka Flame's mother. Mm-hmm. And they added Masika Kalisha. Like, I don't know why they added her, but they did. So Bow Wow, or Shad as I like to call him,
Shad Brown, right?
Moss. He this season has introduced a girlfriend. Okay. A new girlfriend, someone who he, at the beginning of the season was saying someone he thought that he would, marry. He's the one, she's the one, blah, blah, blah. But they've since broken up. But look.
Fake like everything else.
Well, and then they went to counseling on this most recent episode, like couples counseling.
Jesus.
So look, and the reason why they're there is because he's Shad Moss. She's Instagram model who is now with Shad Moss and who is also kind of like a rapper in her own right. I don't know. I've seen her bars. The bars ain't that hot. Whatever. But they're in this situation because she's insecure. Okay. And he goes out. He parties pretty hard. She does not really care for it.
Do they show him like talking to other women? Like engaging with other women? Not
really. Okay. He doesn't really engage much, and I don't know if that's just for television, but it doesn't matter because her insecurities are so strong. Yeah. The fact that he's out doing his thing, it doesn't even matter what he's doing, even when he's not doing anything. And I will say, so there was one time when they went up to a party in New York and Lil Mama was there and blah, 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 and he just went up to her and just hugged her on some old, hey, what's up, mama, blah, blah, blah. Okay. He walked back over to the chick and she goes, just to let you know, her hands were way too close. She need to watch her hands.
Just off a hug.
Wow.
And not that she was right, but was there anything even unusual about the hug?
No, It would be like you and I hugging. Yeah. So I say this to say I cannot stand women like that. Cannot.
I'm sorry, guys. We know one. I was laughing so hard I coughed because we had a run-in with one, sort of. And I think we talked about it, didn't we?
We did not talk about it on this podcast.
We didn't?
But we have talked about it in between us.
I thought we were going to...
We were, but see, this was my lead-in.
Oh,
I needed a reason.
Go.
So, look. I can't stand women like this. Just because somebody is talking to your man does not mean that they want your man, honey. Word up. Like, Some
Guys,
of us,
I can't breathe right now.
some of us are actually just the homie, one of the guys. Ooh. Like people that just happen to be in this man's life that are around. Now the old adage is men are not friends with women just to be friends with women. There's always a possibility that they are attracted to them or whatever. Okay, I've heard that a million times, but it's not always true.
Not at all. Sham and I are a prime example of that.
Oh God, I look at you like a brother. It'd be kind of gross.
Correct. I mean, let's not use the gross word, but yes, I share the same sentiment.
But I'm not gonna say nobody wants your man but you. But guess what? A lot of us don't want your man. There are some women who do, but then there are some like me who don't. So I just cannot stand that. You need to take care of what's going on in your home, ma'am.
Okay. I want to be delicate in this but I do think the listeners should hear at least a little bit more specifics about the situation. And you're very good at this. You're very good at sort of explaining something without revealing the particulars. But give them enough to really grasp how hilarious this is.
I mean, this is just dumb.
Yeah.
It's so dumb.
How dumb. By hilarious, I mean dumb.
So yes. we have a mutual friend.
Yes.
We've met in the same circles. It's all about sports.
We have a huge crew that we all know.
Yeah, we know them.
Yes.
And we've
we kind of all met at the same time.
We met at the same time, and it's always been centered around sports.
Correct.
It's always been about football. It's always been about specifically sports, and nothing more, nothing less. We may kick it outside of that, just get a drink, hang out, blah blah blah, but never anything like deep beyond the love of sports.
And then I think, and to interject real quick, Facebook, the rise of social media kind of coincided with us all meeting. Mm-hmm. So we all kind of like more or less coalesce around social media.
We do.
And we were all adults when social media came out. So when people started to move away and when people started to we were all here at first, we all still stayed together on social media.
Right. And
for better or for worse.
I mean, and so that's where we get a lot of our interaction, specifically with this situation. Like this friend lives like 6 states away,
very far away.
So there's always that banter of like certain topics that are posted. We talk about things, blah blah blah. We have this understanding. We all are very kind of sarcastic and we say like slick stuff to each other all the time. But there's just been one of my guy friends. He's just got this girlfriend that just cannot stop coming for me. And I told him, I said, look, out of respect for you, I'm not even going to engage. I'm gonna just keep it. I'm gonna ignore. And I have, for the most part, I would show you things and be like, yo, this chick is tripping.
And I would take up for her a little bit. I'd be like, man, you guys are tripping, man. Like, leave her alone. It's not that serious. But it's one of those situations you take up for someone and then they do something that you've been defending and it's like, I can't defend that.
You cannot defend this. So on one particular day, somebody made a comment and I responded to the comment. Somebody said something about, like, we were talking about actually
was it hip hop?
No, it was basketball. It was
because Sham God.
It was the Sham God move.
Yes.
And this dude was like, Sham. And I said, oh, playfully, did somebody say my name?
Yes.
No one said your name, honey. Really? That's what we doing? Actually, someone did. Did you not read where he said Sham? But I didn't even say it. I was like, I had a whole little retort and I had to delete it. Guys, I said, I'm going back. I'm going
to interject real quick to say this. I'm on the thread. I'm part of the group. Again, it's a kind of a Facebook feed or whatever. But I didn't see it immediately. Sham screenshot it and sent it to me. And I don't know about you guys, but most of the time, I mean, first of all, I don't get on Facebook on my computer. So I always get on there on my phone.
I don't think a lot of people go on Facebook on their computer anymore.
More people than you would think.
I do at work only because
that's my point.
Easy.
And see, I don't at work. So anything I see on Facebook has to be on my phone. And I don't know about you guys, but there's some things sometimes that if you're in a room, even if you're in the room by yourself, like when she sent it to me and sent me the screenshot, and I had to take a second to like absorb what was happening, I gasped to myself. I was like, because I think you said something like, you said something real like smooth, like, this ain't the day for this. So something you said, and I was like, "What's she talking about?" And then I read it, and I was like, "Oh my god!" Yeah, gosh, the girl hit her with the honey with that rhymes with bunny, like HUNNY.
Yes.
Yeah.
That and in the world of women, for those who don't understand, that is worse than calling another woman a bitch.
Yeah, I mean, came out of nowhere.
No, like left field, like where, cross town, like where you been? Like it wasn't even that type of situation for you to even come like that.
She had not even said anything in the discussion
at all. It was like she waited for me to come in there.
She literally. It would have been one thing if she had been. It still would have been bad if she had been talking to everybody else too, and then she felt she was trying to treat you like you came out of nowhere. She was not involved in the discussion,
and generally,
you weren't talking to her man.
Generally,
yeah,
it's not. She's not.
Right.
It's never anything because it's mostly about sports. She don't know about she don't mess with sports. Like she don't know nothing. So like, it's never anything directly related to anything that would affect her life.
Correct.
So I had to pull myself back because my mouth is terrible and I'm very terrible with words.
Yeah.
And I said, you know what? Let me delete this because I had a whole paragraph coming. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna be big. So I just said, I replied directly to her name and I said, you know what? Enjoy your day, honey.
Did you put them on all caps?
No.
Oh, nah.
No,
okay.
I didn't. But then I immediately went to my friend. You creating drama. But then I immediately went to my guy friend and said, look, I need you to put a handle on this because you already know how I gets down.
Like, come get your girl right now.
Come get her. But I say all this to say, look, I have enough trouble in my own dating life. I'm not out here trying to have anybody else's man. I'm just out here enjoying the sports talks of the world, getting my social media banter on, and nothing I ever say is like flirtatious or outside of the realm of just regular conversation. So I just don't know why.
Like there are women that are like that deserve that type of scrutiny. You know what I'm saying? There are women who hang around guys a lot and are always flirtatious with them, and they know they are, and they know that they cross boundaries. And there are even women who do that whether they like the guys or not. They just like to stir the pot. And you know, you hear other girls talk about them, and it's like, man, it drives them crazy. You're like completely the opposite of that.
I'm not even close to being that person.
You're completely respectful of people's relationships. Like you have guy friends, but you never, you usually go out of your way to, if anything, Sham sometimes is like the worst girl to have around any girl you're interested in, because she'll like join the girl in the Jones session on you. She's done that to me a few times. You know what I'm saying?
I'm a girl's girl. I try to be.
She was like, yeah, he is a jerk. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. So no, but yeah. And then, well, you know what? I was about to cross a boundary, because then I was about, So we'll leave it at, or I will leave my comment at that. But yes, I understand why you felt the way you felt.
I say all this to say that just women like this in general. Look, you have to take care of what's going on at home. Anybody from the outside, they're going to be who they are. But if you and your man have an understanding and, that's how y'all roll, that's one thing. But don't be out here like making yourself look stupid going after these other women and getting mad at them. Like, work it out with what you got going. And if that's not what it is, then don't be with him.
And you make your man look stupid.
Make your man look stupid.
He was embarrassed, and properly so.
As he should have been.
And that's why I like him, because, you can't. If I had a girlfriend like that, the first time she did something like that, I'd be like, "What are you out here doing? Are you serious right now? Why are you out here embarrassing yourself and me?
Right,
acting like you are so insecure? Because what you're really saying is, A, you're insecure about yourself, and B, you're insecure about me. So you're kind of saying that you don't really trust me, which kind of implies that I'm out here running around. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's, and you know, that might sound extreme, but it's like, look, you're sounding like you got me on a leash or something, and you can't let me out of your sight. And
it also makes you look weak.
Yes.
So there are women out there that aren't like are opposite of me, like you said, that can see that weakness and be like, oh, that's a shaky situation over there. I could slide right into it.
So if a woman did want your man, you know what? She would be like, she thinks she got that on lock. Don't worry about that.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. You're right. That obviously that's not even a way I would even look at it. But I'm looking at it from the man's point of view. There's nothing stronger than having a strong woman who's secure. Mm-hmm. I mean, you look so good as a dude having a woman who's like, man, I ain't worried about him. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know I look good. I know he's about me. So whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Yeah. Like, I'm not checking for him at all. A woman who's not checking for me, like, she's the front runner.
you love that.
Yes. You're not checking for me, for real?
We were just talking about that.
We actually were just talking about that.
Wait.
And not even talking about the show and not talking about this at all. You're not checking for me? Okay. And it's not even on some like, I don't want to be bothered with it. It's like, man, she not checking for me? She must got some, not like she must got something going on in a bad way, but like, man, I kind of want to live her life. All right, let's see what she doing. That I'm not like the center of her world. All right, she must have an interesting life. Yeah.
Exactly.
So, boom. But yeah.
Right. So, you want to talk about some of the headlines this week?
Yes. Look, I'm glad we did have although that's an unfortunate story that we just told, but I mean, we had some fun with it. It's been an unfortunate week for the black man. And I would be remiss because, you know, a lot of times I get on here and I rail about 45, I rail about racism, I rail about this. Sometimes you gotta do some house cleaning. And this has not been a good week for us, particularly the last like 2 or 3 days. I mean, we could just do a round robin and just wrap it all up in one like swoop. Kareem Hunt of the Kansas City Chiefs, a completely awful tape has come out from TMZ that shows him, amongst other things, he was pushing this girl. He basically almost tackled her into a wall.
He kicked her in the side.
And then kicked her. Now, he's saying, this is the Joe Mixon defense. Mm-hmm. He's saying that, you know, she called him an N-word several times. As a matter of fact, the report I read right before we started, he was saying that, or not him, but someone else was saying that she apparently was outside his door saying it for 30 minutes, just over and over and over. So, you know, I don't know about that, but that's it. That tape is not a good look.
It's not a good look. It's terrible.
It's terrible. It's not a good thing to see. Now, a couple wrinkles on that real quick before we jump.
Well, the first thing, you didn't mention that he plays for the Kansas City Chiefs, for those who aren't sports followers.
You're right. I just said Kareem Hunt. You're right.
Kareem Hunt is a running back for the Kansas City Chiefs. I think he's in his rookie contract still. Is this his second or third year?
It's definitely not his rookie year. So either his second or his third. Yeah.
Okay.
You said rookie contract.
Yeah, he's still in his rookie contract.
Yes,
so he's young.
Is. Yes. And he so the tape came out yesterday morning, I want to say. By mid-morning, Kansas City had excused him from practice.
Right.
Then as the day progressed,
2 hours later.
Yeah, last night they just outright released him. Now, their position is that this incident happened in February. So their position is that they knew about this, and the NFL knew about this, but that he lied about what happened.
They hadn't seen what happened. He told his side of the story, and they were like, okay, well, There you go.
And again, according to the article that I literally just read, so we read some articles earlier, and then I was shown another article right before I sat down, so before we recorded, and they say that he told the team he didn't even touch her, that he was inside the room the whole time.
They say he basically lied about what happened.
Right. Now, the other interesting wrinkle on that is that the team is saying that they were trying to get a hold of the tape from the hotel, and that the NFL, like, they made attempts. First of all, how do you attempt to get a tape? Either you can get it or you can't. Because TMZ
easy for me to get that tape of that dude ripping my tag off the car. I got that the next day.
I don't understand how you attempt to get a tape. TMZ got it like the second they asked for it.
Well, pause. Yeah. Can we just talk about TMZ for a second? How are they always at the crux of everything? Yeah. Like, they are breaking.
If TMZ said it happened.
It has to be true.
It happened.
Like, seriously.
Their credibility, they have established like complete plausibility and credibility.
Absolutely.
But, yeah, so they say that, but Kansas City said they try to get the tape, whatever that means. But after repeated denials by the hotel, the NFL told them to stop. Now, the NFL, I guess, was saying, look, we'll take over the investigation. But the bottom line is the NFL didn't get it either. Mm-hmm. Even worse than that, the cops said they tried to get the tape. I don't understand how the cops could try to get something and not get it, and then somebody else could get it.
You have to have a warrant for it.
Right, but I guess the point being, if the cops know it exists, mm-hmm. and so let's say they had a warrant. If they try to obtain it and don't obtain it, and then a third party obtains it via money, somebody needs to be liable for that.
Well, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Did the young lady in question press charges?
That I don't know.
Because if she had pressed charges, it could have been subpoenaed and there would have been no choice.
Very true.
So I'm thinking that if she didn't do that, that makes it a touch harder to get the tape, because technically they don't have to give it to anybody.
Oh, actually, you know what? I still don't know whether she pressed charges or not, and I'm chuckling out of the ridiculousness of what I'm about to say. In the same article, I had forgotten for a moment. The cops said that they tried to get the tape, the hotel told them no, and that they don't really pursue it after that because they pursue felonies, and this would be a misdemeanor. That was their explanation. So, you get beat up and thrown across the hallway and all that. Hey, you know what? Doesn't quite rise to the level where we can care about it enough.
Especially if she didn't press charges.
Exactly. Even if there's a tape. So, let's all move on.
Mm-hmm.
So that's Kareem Hunt. Okay. So that was literally amongst a horrible litany of stories. Another one.
Oh, no. Let's not even leave this one.
Are we not leaving it?
Because
am I leaving somehow?
No, I just have some thoughts on this. So the woman was standing outside his door, allegedly saying the N-word several times.
Now that part you couldn't see on the tape.
Well, no, they cut right to the part where he opens the door.
Correct.
And just kind of
like starts going off, right?
Yeah. See, in situations like these, because I've seen a lot of comments on social media about, it's okay that he did that because she said the N-word. No, it's not.
Right.
It's not okay. At some point, and I said earlier that he was in his rookie contract and that he's young for a reason. Mm-hmm. Emotional intelligence has to come into play at a certain point.
Yeah.
People are going to say things to you that you may not necessarily like. Why would you even come outside of the room?
Yeah.
Call hotel security. Tell them to come get her. Or turn your TV up loud. Do something other than open that door and attack this woman.
Correct.
Because now look what you've done.
Yep. Now you've put your life, career in jeopardy.
In jeopardy. Yeah. You now, as of yesterday, you don't have a job.
Correct.
Now you're on video for the world to see that you beat up women. I don't care what she said.
Yeah.
You are a woman beater at this point.
Although Joe Mixon has gotten over it and completely knocked that woman out, that young lady out. And he is living his best life in Cincinnati right now. If I'm Ray Rice, I'm flipping the table over like, how's Joe Mixon in the league and I'm not? Mm-hmm. Kareem Hunt will get a job.
He will get
a job.
He's great.
Yeah,
Ray Rice was on the downslide.
That's the point. right
yeah,
there.
he wasn't really playing well.
That's right.
They had two other running backs, and this is for the Baltimore Ravens. They had two other young running backs coming in. They were splitting time with. So at that point, he was expendable.
That's right. Yeah. Why pick up an expendable commodity? And we will get to that in a moment. Yeah. As a matter of fact, unless you have anything to add about this particular
I just wanted to...
that dovetails directly into our next one. Reuben Foster. Now, this one is interesting on so many levels before we even get to, and this one has a local connection, obviously.
Yep.
But before we even get to that, I still don't know what to make of this. Because, okay, so Reuben Foster did play for the 49ers. And long story short, he got accused of, amongst other things, I believe he got accused of smacking her and hitting her phone out of her hand and doing all this stuff back in like the spring. Excuse me. He's a linebacker for the 49ers. Mm-hmm. And his girlfriend, who, was accused him, he goes to court. The team hangs on to him. But because he had a trouble pass in college, like he had gotten not kicked out of the combine, but severely downgraded for smoking weed, I believe, at the combine and a bunch of other things. He was already kind of on a short leash. Mm-hmm. And they told him at the time, they said, look, if this is true, we're going to cut you. Okay? Now, they made that known. Then the girl comes out, his girlfriend, and says, and recants it, and completely recants it. Like, not only, like, there are instances in domestic violence in which the woman just chooses not to file charges. She came out and was like, I was lying. Okay? Like, so it was a complete 180. And that saved his job. That saved his job. He stayed in San Francisco. And I remember at the time, a lot of dudes were like, hey, man, this is what, probably happens more often than we think, and blah 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 blah. And
probably
listen,
slid her some cash.
At the time, on the surface, it did look bad. It looked bad as in for accusers. It looked like, hey, you know what? Cautionary tale. Somebody could come out, do something, blah blah blah. Okay, so he stayed with this woman, and now, last week, pretty much the same accusation. Like, he smacked me in the face. He smacked my phone out of my hand. He did this. He did that. Except this time it's in the hotel.
So what's her credibility at this point?
I mean, zero. Because
you reneged before.
Right. The problem is, first of all, I have the feeling that this was because they said this was in the team hotel. Mm-hmm. See, the other one was at the house,
so nobody saw it.
Right. This one is at the team hotel on the road during a game. Mm-hmm. So okay, there are probably other people around who can corroborate it. So that's why they were like, you know what? And plus, you know what? We're done with the both of you. Probably is what the team is like.
Yeah, like we're over this.
Whether it's true or not, we just don't need this.
We're not doing this again.
We don't need this.
Yeah,
you two are toxic.
What's sad about that whole thing is, like, if it did happen the first time and you came back and then you said under oath that you fabricated the story, then if it happens again, it's hard for people, and not to say that it didn't, because it would be very hard for people to believe you and take your side. You've ruined your own credibility by going back on that it happened before. And I don't know why women do this is beyond me.
Well, I mean, it's not that hard to figure out.
Yeah, but
why did Ray Rice's woman marry him?
Oh God.
Like, why?
I mean, I know why.
Exactly.
But it's just unbelievable to me. It is.
Sadly, it's believable, but it's sad, but it's believable. I mean, people make a decision. They sit down, they weigh pros and cons, and they make a pragmatic decision. Like, you know what? I'm willing to take this gamble to keep my lifestyle or life.
Yeah.
This is my life in the balance right now, and I'm willing to go out on a limb and think that, this is going to change. Why should I endanger, let's be honest, my financial security in my life especially if they have kids. I mean, I don't know if he and this girl have, but I believe Ray Rice and his fiance at the time, now wife, had a child. I'm almost positive they did. So yeah, I mean, it's you know, it's hard. It's hard. I mean, that's just, it's sad. Now, okay, so let's stay on Reuben Foster. All right. So all that aside, 49ers cut him. And I mean, when they cut him, his name was Mud. Everyone was like, okay, you know what? Let's just go off the assumption that he did it the first time and he did it again. She covered for him the first time and he's doing it now. Like, that's pretty much what the sort of buzz about him was.
But he wasn't Mud to somebody.
Exactly. Which leads to my next point. So the Washington Redskins, and guys, you know, I haven't been, and Sham hasn't either. We're not ultra PC about the Redskins name. No. We both grew up in this area. I mean, there's no way around it. It's a racist. It's a completely horrible racist name, and we haven't even really talked about it. But it is. It is. It's one of those.
But I'm not gonna ride for Native Americans harder than they ride for themselves.
Correct. And well,
because they're not actually the ones.
Well, I question the validity of those polls that say that they don't have a problem with it. Right. Because it's like, how many Native Americans are taking that poll? But, okay.
But have you seen them outside of FedEx Field marching?
Have you seen them anywhere? I'm like Chris Rock. How many Native Americans do you actually know?
Exactly. So, you know. So
because they don't. Well, okay, that's another conversation for another time. But
we would be marching.
Yeah, we disagree. Well, there are a lot more of us. So yeah, exactly.
If there were five of us, we would be.
That's my point. But all right. So the point being, that is one of many issues that I think we both would have with the Redskins. But they're a horrible organization. I mean,
they are horrible from the top down.
Yeah, we have intimated that many times.
Since Jack Kent Cooke died, it has been downhill.
And they have a very poor history, even relative to the NFL.
What does Pat always say? The history of garbage?
Of garbage, yes. And he's saying it because he's a Giants fan, but
it's not far from the truth.
That's the first time we mentioned his name on the show. Shout out to Pat. But anyway, but in all seriousness, they have a horrible history in general. I've talked about why I'm a Raiders fan. I'm pretty much a Raiders fan for the opposite reason that I'm not a Redskins fan. Redskins were the last team to integrate. They again, whether people believe it's true or not, I'm gonna just go ahead and say it. George Preston Marshall, he named the team the Redskins because he wanted to keep segregation alive. Like, it was part of sort of an overall effort to fight integration. Mm-hmm. And it was kind of a troll, for lack of a better word. The Boston Braves. And then, So, okay. So, with all that being said, you mentioned Jack Kent Cooke. He was a very good owner. And
before you move on, so for people who aren't in this area, we live in the Washington, D.C. area. For those who don't know, there are a lot of Dallas Cowboys fans in this area.
Yeah, we have said that.
So, and it goes to what you just said, the reason why there are so many. Because the Redskins were the last to integrate.
That's right.
So they didn't want to root for a team and
they'll go the opposite way. Yeah. Dallas is the arch rival of the Redskins. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of people, you are absolutely 1,000% correct. If you ask a lot of the Dallas fans, they will cite that as a reason.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of them are also like, you know, bandwagon jumpers.
Well, yeah, but their parents, Dallas like older 90s. People, older people like our parents' age have said that that's why.
Absolutely. You are absolutely correct about that.
So Reuben Foster.
Long story short, obviously, I guess we can connect the dot there. So his name is Mud. Redskins pick him up. Mm-hmm. That starts a domino chain of just mistake after mistake after mistake. In cleaning up the previous mistake, they make a bigger one. They pick him up. Mistake number one. They know it's bad, so they release a just completely horrible statement that I'm not even going to give oxygen to. Mistake number two. then, in keeping with their policy of, look, Daniel Snyder doesn't talk to the media because he's horrible every time he talks to the media. Fine. Bruce Allen, son of brother of former Governor George Allen. Okay? Who himself took himself out of the national conversation, who was a serious, legitimate presidential candidate, but made a racist remark his damn self about Native Americans, where he called them something, I forget the exact word, but at a rally or something in 2000, I want to say 2004. So took himself out of the race. Bruce Allen, who called Kurt cousin, even though it's a one-syllable first name, all right, and completely screwed his name up. Yeah, he makes himself unavailable to the media. So what does Washington do? They trot out Doug Williams,
who never should talk to anyone.
Now, let's buckle up, as I like to say, and talk about Doug Williams. Okay? We just sat here and talked about the history of the Redskins. I don't have a problem with the Redskins, but I don't like them. But one of the few times I do like them, and we have talked about this specifically. Doug Williams was the first black quarterback, and we had a very extensive conversation. So
quarterback.
I was about to say I would choose my words wisely to start the Super Bowl and actually win the Super Bowl as a starter.
Set records.
5
touchdown passes.
Beat the Broncos.
46 to 10, something like that.
Yeah. So Doug Williams is a legendary figure in Washington, D.C. Really in the NFL for having that distinction of being the first black starting quarterback to win a Super Bowl. But definitely in D.C. He's kind of one of those D.C. figures like John Thompson. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like those people who you walk around, if he walks around DC, he literally could get anything he wanted for free. Free food, free drinks, free whatever. Doug Williams, legend. The Redskins hired him this offseason and said, okay, we're going to make you our team president. Now, at the time, I talked to Redskins fans, particularly one I'm very close to. We've mentioned his name before, Kamal, one of my best friends. And I said, listen, I'm happy the Redskins did this.
Senior Vice President of Player Personnel.
There you go. The Redskins have shied away from always actually having the title of general manager for whatever reason. Bruce Allen has been screwing up, so they've removed him. Now Doug Williams. And I said to the teams, to the fans at the time, I said, now, I'm happy the Redskins did this. If it's a sign of actual progress, are they going to give Doug Williams actual power and actual responsibility and allow him to make decisions and allow him to be the face of this franchise? If they do that, that will start the process of me gaining respect for them again. Now, this could also break the other way. I said that at the time. I said, and I was talking purely in the football sense. I said, now, if they try him out there and still make ridiculous decisions and still do stupid things, with their fans and still have a horrible experience and hang him out to dry as the face of the franchise, and he doesn't have any power, it will make me dislike them more. So now I don't know what to think of this, is where I'm going with this. Doug Williams comes out and makes a completely ridiculous statement about signing Reuben Foster. Basically tries to legitimize it. It says that, oh, well, you have people in way, uses 4 or 5 ways, higher places, doing way worse things. So
this is small potatoes.
Doug Williams says that. Immediately gets completely crippled in the media, rightfully so. Then, so mistake number 2, then comes out, makes a horrible apology.
Yeah. He blamed it on the climate.
Yeah.
Of the culture right now.
Yeah.
That he shouldn't have said that. So you mean if there was no Me Too movement, it would be okay to say that?
When you said it, you talked about how you had 6 daughters. And in your apology, you talked about you had 6 daughters. I don't know how old those daughters are, but out of the 6, can one of them come grab your shoulder?
Or something.
Dad,
one of
what
them is
are
old
you
enough.
out here doing?
Right.
So now I'm mad at the team for trotting Doug Williams out there like that. I'm mad at Doug Williams for tarnishing his legacy and tarnishing and carrying water. You know how much I hate carrying water. People who carry water for other people when they shouldn't, when they have no power. So now I'm questioning, did the team put you out there to do that, or did you do that? And I didn't see Dan Snyder behind you with a gun to your head. So either way, even if they put you out there, you still did something stupid. So both of y'all stupid. So both of y'all can go somewhere. And that's I mean, the anger I felt with that entire situation can't even be quantified.
I see.
What again, why would you go out? I'm not trying to act like having a job is a luxury and you can do whatever you want with your job. Everyone has things that about their job that they wish they could change, and you cannot go in there and quit if you don't like something. But I would like to think that, and I know for a fact, I'm stupid like that. You ask me to do something stupid like that is beyond undignified. Yeah, nah. You know what? I'm walking off.
Yeah, I don't know why he said anything at all. Everybody else was quiet.
Correct.
You be quiet too.
This was he went on the radio.
He went on the radio.
This was part of an interview. So he prepared for it.
Yeah, I don't know who his PR person is. Terrible.
He's terrible.
He's probably himself.
He's a grown man.
Yeah, he's a grown man.
You shouldn't need a PR person to tell you not to say that.
You're right. Like, somebody should have reviewed what he was going to say on the radio and say, yo, you don't want to say that.
This is small potatoes?
Yes. Nah.
And you're going to do a whataboutism?
Yeah.
And compare yourself. You can say whatever you want about 45. He's been caught on tape doing other stuff, but not that.
Yeah, we've not seen him beat up a woman.
Right. Oh, yeah. Well, people in higher places are doing worse stuff. No, they're not.
No, they're actually not.
Not on tape.
They're saying some silly stuff, but we ain't seen them put hands on anybody.
He got caught on tape saying something.
Yeah, that was.
You measure that against Reuben Foster, and 45 would go crazy. He'd be like, what are you talking about? See, this is what I'm talking about.
This is why I called them sons of bitches.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, he was talking. You're giving him fuel right there.
Nah, sit down, Doug Williams.
Yeah, so stop trying to reference him and do whataboutism.
Right.
Like, and you meant that.
You did. You meant it.
You meant that.
Did you see how Jay Gruden tried to clean it up and was like, well, he's going to have a lot of work to do when he comes here, so I don't even know if he's going to be able to play on the field.
I'm going to keep it real. Jay Gruden actually probably handled this the best out of everybody.
Everybody.
Because you can tell that, and I was trying to tell somebody, you could tell he's not with this either.
No.
But he handled it professionally.
Yeah, he's like,
he clearly prepared himself to answer the question, which apparently no one else in the entire organization.
He's like, look, I'm trying to coach a team.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this guy ain't just going to come in here and expect playing time. We're going to have to work something out.
Now, you want to know the other funny part about this? The part of the team's horrific written first statement was that he would part of the reason they brought him in is because a bunch of his former teammates from college
from Alabama. Yeah, they said that he was a great guy.
All of them promptly was like, they didn't talk to us, and I didn't say that.
They was like,
I'm paraphrasing it, but I mean,
nobody talked to us.
No one backed that up.
Yeah, it was like, all of his ex-Alabama teammates pretty much caped for him and was like, bring him in. No, we didn't. We don't like him.
I was like, how do you think he feels about that? Like, these boys didn't even vouch for him. They were like, all right, because they just shoved. I'm sorry, guys. I was laughing so hard. They shoved the microphone in one of the guy's face, and he looked like a ghost. He was like, what? No, I didn't.
News to me.
I mean, I guess he come in here. Everybody makes mistakes. Next question. All right. Yeah. So that's that story.
Yeah. Speaking of, just saying something that's just ridiculous, man.
So let's continue. Bad week for Brothas.
Bad week for Brothas. Let's talk about the one Mark Lamont Hill.
Yep.
Gosh.
CNN contributor.
And we like him.
Yes.
Well, and this makes it,
He's of the Bakari sellers, you know what I'm saying? Black men who get on there. Van Jones. Black men who get on CNN and they come correct. You know what I'm saying? I like to think that if I ever get that kind of platform, that's how I would sound.
Yeah, but you didn't want to sound like him.
Oh, no, not today.
On this day.
Or whatever day that was. No, yeah. I'll let you go ahead with that story.
So he recently did a speech on CNN about Israel. And he wanted to come across as like someone who speaks in solidarity and wanting to take action. And, he's trying to fight for justice. However, there was one phrase that kind of negated his whole speech. Yeah. I mean, he had, great intentions. It was very powerful, moving. And then he says, river to the sea.
Yep.
River to the sea. You want to give us a little background on why that's...
And it's too specific.
Too specific.
To be written off as coincidence. And maybe you can fill in some blanks when I try to give this. But long story short, River to the Sea is basically a reference to sort of eliminating the Jewish/Israeli presence in the Middle East. Mm-hmm. And, it tracks back to, the Bible, but it's a commonly used phrase, especially in anti-Semitism. Now, his position is that, it was just a turn of phrase.
Yeah.
He didn't actually mean that. But why would you, like, in common conversation or even in a political conversation? As a matter of fact, you're a political commentator, so your brain should be attuned to the stuff you should not say. He's
a professor at Temple University.
That's right. He's a smart brother.
He's someone who should know that this is not what you say.
Matter of fact, I believe I used this phrase a couple, one of our earlier episodes. That would be like me saying crossing the Rubicon. That would be like if crossing the Rubicon was like a racial phrase. Mm-hmm. You have to know what you're talking about when you say something like that.
Exactly.
Crossing the Rubicon is not a racial phrase. But the point being, you don't use a phrase like that unless you know what context in which to use it.
Because I imagine a lot of people who even heard about this was like, river to the sea, what does that even mean?
That's right. That's the point. You have to explain that.
Right. You have to explain it. Yeah. So when you hear, you're like, and so the people who knew were like, whoa, that's anti-Semitic.
Correct.
But he was just saying, like, he was trying to say that on a grand international scale, that we need to stand together and we need to bond and we need to fight.
Right.
But when you use that phrase, you're saying, okay, everybody but them.
Yeah.
Which it's a terrible thing.
And he's a good brother, man.
He is.
And it's one of those things. And this is why this segment in general is so important to me, because I can't come out here and we can't come out here and, oh, well, this racist thing happened. This person did blackface. This person, people called the cops. We got to hold ourselves accountable too.
Absolutely.
And I can't sit and say, oh, well, this is a good brother, whatever, and ignore something that they did.
Yeah, because guess what? White people are getting fired from their jobs for saying things poorly and offending our culture. And look, you just went out there and offended a culture that is similar to ours in that we were both slaved and murdered. And, so if anybody else can partly understand, what we went through, it's them.
That's
and you alienated that culture. So, and you just have to have you have to be better judgment. Yeah. Like,
you've been in the game too long. And
like, I'm sorry, like our culture was clearly oppressed and some would say are still being oppressed, and their culture was also oppressed. Like, these are two large groups of people who know what oppression is.
And that's what I was going to say. That's why, not you took it more seriously. I made it as a joke when we were sitting there talking about the Republican organization for the president or whatever that was, and one of their platforms about immigration. Mm-hmm. But my point in all seriousness there was, that's what I love about black people. We understand oppression. Mm-hmm. And what is supposed to be one of our badges of honor is that we are the first people to look at other people and look at other situations and say, you know what, we understand what oppression is. We are not gonna engage in any kind of discrimination. And that's what I like about us. When I was talking about, this organization is trying to have black people stand at the border against him. Why? Why would we do that?
Why would we?
We would never do that. I mean, we would be like, why can't you just let these people in?
Why are we trying to oppress someone else on behalf of our oppressor?
Correct. Yeah. and so my point being, and that's what always is very sad when black people, in my opinion, some black people twist the narrative and start picking out like other races and other religions and other whatever and saying, okay, they're attributing. You know what? You don't have time for all these battles. You are being oppressed, period. Rise. Yeah. And help other people rise. And in the kind of common effort, everyone will rise. But yeah, that made me sad. And you know what? He gotta get fired.
Yeah. So he lost his job at CNN.
Yeah.
And they held him accountable for his words.
Yep. And it is what it is. I was sitting there railing about Megyn Kelly and blackface. Well, Megyn Kelly says that about blackface. You say that. Say this about Jews. The difference is Megyn Kelly got paid. Is he getting paid?
I don't know if he's getting paid.
I don't know about that.
And as of now, he's still a professor at Temple. I don't know how that's gonna.
Well, I hope he keeps that.
Yeah.
But who knows?
Well, he can continue to host Basketball Wives reunions.
Now, are we ready to move to the last one that I have? And then we can move all the way off this topic. Yeah, but I will be remiss. This one makes me very sad. Neil deGrasse Tyson, who is, you want to talk about black people who are like a shining standard in terms of just the perfect storm of accomplishment, being of our race, and just being unique and having, especially for his profession, like a superstar quality. Okay. So Neil deGrasse Tyson, for all those people who don't know, is a world at this point renowned scientist and astrophysicist. Okay. He is world renowned, and sort of like Bill Nye, where, you have that sort of crossover of accomplishment and fame. He has really done a good job of staying true to the work of science, but bringing it to the public in such a way that people know, like if you see him, you know him, and he's constantly sort of educating people. He talks a lot about the universe. He talks a lot about the solar system, stuff like that. So he's a big deal. Awesome. Big deal. Okay. Yeah. Well, I'm not, attributing guilt or innocence, but he certainly has got himself caught up in the Me Too movement in a horrible way. So a couple wrinkles to this. Number one, this really started from two specific recent accusations. Now, in fairness to him, again, both accusations, and in all honesty, I only know the true specifics about one of them, but I know that there are two recent ones. But the one that I know about is, long story short, this woman got like a tattoo, a body tattoo of the solar system on her body. Okay, so it was kind of like a tattoo that ran from her mid thigh, like up her side to like her, elbow or something, or underarms. And it was supposed to represent the solar system or whatever. And I don't know all the specifics, but the crux of it was that she came to one of his events or something, and she told him that she had this tattoo, and he was like, well, I want to know where Pluto is. Okay.
And he grabbed her arm
and like reached on her dress and was looking for the tattoo.
Yeah.
Okay. Weird in like 1,000 different ways, like from both parties, but again, assault is basically where she's going with that. Another woman accused of assault. I do not know the particulars of that story, but sort of the same ilk. So both of these came out at the same time. Now, what makes me even more sad than that is that I found out through the revelation of these two stories that he had been completely, like, outright accused of rape.
Drugged.
Yes.
Drugging and raping.
Basically.
Bill Cosby.
Exactly. Basically a Bill Cosby situation in grad school. Mm-hmm. And this has been completely, like, I'm not going to say covered up. I mean, just not talked. It's kind of
swept discussed. Under the rug.
Yeah, swept under the rug would be the better way to put it.
Yeah.
That it was out in the open and just nobody just cared about it and they just
because
put it
I mean,
away.
Just to be fair, like, how many people are into astrophysics and care about what he does?
Now, not so much into astrophysics, but I mean, he's a big deal.
He is a big deal.
He's famous. Mm-hmm. Like, I put it this way: Neil deGrasse Tyson is, again, like Bill Nye, like one of those people. People will see him and not know what he does, but be like, "Oh, okay, I've seen him on TV. Like, I know who he is." Now, the thing about this that's crazy to me, why this was swept under the rug, apparently his accuser of this crime accosted him at a public event. He showed up at an event and did, a discussion on the solar system or whatever, and you know how people just walk into the aisle and ask questions? She basically set it up and walked into the aisle and, like, accused them in front of the crowd.
So this is why I have a problem with this. Because when it happened, are we talking about the solar system lady, or are we talking about his assistant on the set of The Cosmos? Which one did this?
The person who accused him, I was made to understand, was the woman he was accused of raping in grad school. Okay. The solar system lady was recent, I thought.
The solar system lady was... Okay, so there's I think I'm getting my stories crossed because there was another woman who worked.
That's probably the third woman that I didn't know.
Okay, that worked with him.
Yeah.
And I guess he invited her to his home, and he removed his shirt, and he was only wearing an undershirt, and he served cheese and wine. That's the third one. Yep. He pointed a knife at her, and
then matter of fact, you're jogging my memory. Apparently, if that's in the story, told her, like, when she reported it. This third woman, and he told her, like, basically, you're never going to advance in this, like, business because you're boring or something like that. Basically, like, stop playing, like, get with the program.
Right.
But that's her accusation.
But the interesting thing about that is she said she told a producer on the show what happened, and that she wanted to quit. But the producer asked her if she wanted to file a complaint. She said, I didn't want to make a fuss.
You hear that a lot, though, right?
But isn't this a fuss?
Well, now it is. I mean, well, I don't know, but look, is she coming on after the solar system lady? So again, that's how a lot of these stories go, though, right? Like, someone accuses,
this happened in May of this year.
No, I'm not questioning the timeline when it happened. What I'm saying is, to your point, someone waits. Not waits, but sees someone else accuse a perpetrator and then feels the courage to do it afterward. So this probably was that.
It's like 3-4 women.
Yeah, it's starting to pile up. Yeah. It's like a Bill Cosby situation. Yeah, where, like, people are gonna start coming out.
What's crazy is the producer of the show was like, "Yeah, that's a good idea. We'll just say you had a family emergency." What?
Yeah, I mean, again. Certainly not my current job. My current job is great, and I'm not ever going to say its name or anything like that. I've been in jobs in the past, and I've been in the corporate world in the past, and I certainly did not contribute to these decisions, but it's amazing when you're in a room and a crisis, quote unquote, is being discussed, the options that are thrown out there. Like, people are crazy. people be like, hey, so okay, I'm just throwing this out there,
Yeah.
And that's
just playing devil's advocate.
Yeah. So let's just kind of like float this idea out, and it's like, are you serious? No, you can't.
No, you're so serious right now.
Right, and it's like you're totally serious, and you just want to see if people go and bite on that. Yeah,
This is what you really think,
right? And that, and because before I saw that up close, I used to be like, yo, how could someone like think that was a good idea? It's amazing when. Here's what I've come to learn about stuff like that. There's a certain amount of seconds that need to basically transpire in which no one says anything, and then the idea like takes shape. If someone doesn't speak up immediately, a lot of times a bad idea takes off and gets wings and just goes off into the atmosphere. And then everyone looks around and is like, well, wasn't my idea, but no one said anything. What did Martin Luther King Jr. say? Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. A lot of evil, and I'm paraphrasing, I'm completely probably going to butcher this quote, but the essence of it was, a lot of evil in this world, it's actually worse when good people do nothing.
Yep.
Yeah, it's not so much bad people actively doing stuff. It's when good people see it and don't do anything. That's how these ideas go.
Joe Paterno.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. Look, not trying to be a Debbie Downer. I'm off that complete subject.
But I just want to say more power to the women who have come out, whether they, I mean, at least they didn't wait like 30 years.
Well, are we presuming guilt though?
No, but I'm just saying, like, if this is their truth, I just want to, say, I gotta
treat them like I treat Kavanaugh's accusers. Yeah,
you do, and
yeah.
I hope that they get the justice that they feel that they deserve if this is true. So I can say I support women that this has been done to, and I hope that like you said, if it's true, they get the justice. So moving on, and actually not so much that, but I'm just gonna say on a personal level, for now, about the last 5, maybe 6, 7 years, actually, I've been in a position of relative influence over a lot of, like, most of the people who work underneath me, so to speak. You manage people.
I manage people, and most of them are women, like 80 to 90%. And the only reason I don't give a lot of rope to a lot of these guys is because at even my age right now, I go out of my way. Like, I go out of my way to make sure that nothing I could do could ever be construed as like sexual or harassment or both. You see what I'm saying?
If you have to meet one-on-one with any of the women that you manage for, let's say, performance issues or whatever, if you need to talk to them directly about the function of their job.
Excellent question.
Do you have someone else in the room?
Not all the time. However, every office I've ever had has had windows. Every office I've ever had. Number one. Number two, I've established my reputation such that I walk around with the confidence of like, you can never accuse me of anything. Like, you could never accuse me of anything because everyone here knows. As a matter of fact, I don't outright say it, but I might as well wear a sign. Like, I will go out of my way to make sure that all of you here know that I'm not trying to step outside of any boundary with any of you. And I feel like you got to do that. You have to do that because if you're in a position of power, and actually, ironically, I mean, a lot of women, again, I'm narcissistic. I look good.
What?
What I was about to say was,
no, that's very high self-esteem. See, congrats to you.
This is why Shannon don't step outside. This is why nobody I ever talked to ever problems with Sharon, because Sharon be calling me ugly and stuff.
I didn't call you ugly, but jeez.
No, but in all seriousness, a lot of people who work under me like have tried to get with me, And it's like, no, not even close. Like, no, stop. My job, my career, my life is too important.
It's the single black,
yeah,
mildly attractive man who's got it going on.
Mildly attractive. I love Sham, y'all.
You seem to have yourself together, so ain't too many of y'all out here. So we all, I get it.
I like how she made the only capital letter in that whole sentence was the M for mildly.
It's like, look, I get it. You work with. And it goes back to the numbers.
Oh man, it's funny.
It goes back to the numbers that I talked about.
Yeah.
We outnumber men.
Mildly. It's like what?
Women outnumber
55-45?
Women outnumber men.
Especially am I wrong? It's 55-45?
We're gonna have to look it up.
I
thought it was something like 8-1 or something like that. But I
think you're talking about like sort of if you have to put a lot of like conditions on that ratio.
Anyway.
Yeah.
And especially in that environment, it's probably like 50-1.
Wow.
So they're all like, he got it going on. He got a good job. He got, blah, 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 blah. They've never walked in here though. But
now we can move on.
I could see that.
Because Sham is now, uncorked the Let's Carry Rashaka. And you know what? In all fairness, we did do a couple of episodes and we've done a couple of snippets where we talked about your dating life. And I did say, when you wanted to start taking shots at me, you could.
That wasn't even a shot, though.
Yes, it was. But
I consider it a shot.
Yeah, but anyway, Sham will start unloading on me a little bit. Because even today I discussed to her with tales of my travails. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, right. Whatever. Let's move on. Any other stories?
No.
I know it was kind of a down week. I mean, there are some political. We would be remiss, and we don't have to spend a lot of time on it, but we'd be remiss. We did talk about it. George H.W. Bush,
Herbert Walker,
42,
41,
right? 41. Mm-hmm. Passed away. Was it Friday? Was
last night? Yeah. Today is Saturday.
Today is Saturday.
Last night.
So yesterday,
November 30th.
And we talked about it. He has a kind of an interesting legacy. Listen, in terms of just if you objectively look at someone who has had an impact on politics, obviously anybody who's the president has. Mm-hmm. But even before he was the president, he did. I mean, he was 94, so he lived a very full life.
Yeah.
But I mean, he touched a lot of things. I believe, and I'm just doing a round robin, I'm not going in any order. He was the head of the CIA. Definitely.
Yeah, he was.
As a matter of fact,
a war hero too.
It definitely was a war hero. Plane was shot down.
He was a pilot at like 19. He was like one of the youngest pilots.
And I believe his plane was shot down.
It was.
Yeah.
He survived.
Plane was shot down.
Yeah.
And as a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure if you drive on GW Parkway, the sort of entrance to one of the CIA facilities there is called the George H.W. Bush, like, not Parkway, but road or something like that. Like, they started naming stuff for him like a long time ago because of his impact in the CIA. Mm-hmm. And obviously he was the father of another president. Mm-hmm. The Bushes in general, I mean, Jeb was a governor of Florida and a presidential candidate himself.
Yeah. I think they said he had 6 children. Out of the 6, 3 of them went into politics.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, ironically, when people think of the Republican royalty or whatever, they think of Reagan, and Reagan is the sort of modern, I guess, standard that everyone. But the Bushes really are they are the Republican version of the Kennedys. Yeah. In the sense that, okay, we have a legacy and we have people going out doing political things. Mm-hmm. Because Reagan, I mean, his kids have done, myriad of random things. One of them's a radio host. Yeah, who does that kind of stuff? But no, but in all seriousness, and then we were talking, and then I'll kind of, if you have anything to add, but We were talking about his legacy, especially post-presidency. I mean, obviously, he was only a one-term president. He lost to Clinton. The recession had a lot to do. It's the economy, stupid, was how he kind of lost to Clinton. He didn't know the price. Ironically, back then, not knowing the price of a gallon of milk,
I remember that
was actually like a big deal.
Yeah.
And now 45 is out here thinking you need an ID to get a
right
gallon of milk.
The bar has definitely dropped.
It definitely dropped. But yeah, that was a big thing back then.
I remember that.
He didn't know. He did not know how much a carton of milk cost. He
did not know.
And Bill Clinton and that was like a big thing. Like they used that against him, and they were right. But in foreign policy, though, he was considered a very successful president, and I would agree with that. The first Iraq War,
the Persian Gulf War.
Yes, you are correct. That's the better way to put it. I mean, went in there, now.
And it was short. It was like one of the shortest wars the shortest war on record. I thought.
Correct. I believe it was less than a month.
Yeah, it was very short.
Yeah, it was so short that it gave America a false impression of what warfare was about,
right?
In the modern age, and now, ironically, given the success, quote unquote, of that war, that led to a lot of other problems, i.e., number one, not finishing the job, so to speak.
Yeah, because
of removing Saddam Hussein.
Saddam Hussein was still around.
Correct. Kind of leaving the Middle East as a quagmire that would later manifest itself. He didn't start that quagmire, but he certainly was a contributor to it. So, okay. And then a lot of people in his administration, because all these people are in the same, all these players are the same. Dick Cheney, Donald Rumsfeld. They had different positions under him, but then those were the same people who later on, under his son, 8 years later, would be prominent figures in that administration and would change the course of foreign affairs for the United States for a while. So anyway, long story short, we did, again, talk about, and we were remiss not to, his post-presidential legacy with Bill Clinton. The Bush-Clinton Foundation, right?
Yeah.
The charitable works there were excellent.
It's such a cool, to have two former presidents who, to team with the president who beat you.
Correct.
And, one's a Democrat, one's a Republican. I mean, it really just shows you what can happen when those two parties can work together. Yep.
And shout out to Pete, my friend, who posted the letter
that HW wrote to Clinton as his incumbent.
Back when the passage of power was graceful. It was
beautiful.
Yeah, it was an awesome letter.
It was an awesome,
yeah. And it showed, and that showed the foundation upon which they could build a friendship.
Right.
And then after that, the foundation of their friendship helped literally millions of people. Millions of people.
Yeah.
So, his legacy is great. And, obviously any president passing, even someday 45 passing, I guess we'll have to say something nice about him.
I didn't realize that George H.W. Bush was the oldest living president at 94.
He's older than Carter?
Yeah, he must be. Wow. Jimmy Carter's still alive, but 94. He's the oldest living president. He's lived the longest of all the presidents.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, and he was in office. He was in office for a long time, like the 2 terms as vice president.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 12 years. And like you said, I mean, he started getting in public life because I think he got shot. Like you said, he joined World War II. Like he was like 18.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was like boom, right out of high school, and then I think when he came back, he went to college, Yale. And then,
don't they all go to Yale?
And actually, one last thing, ESPN was showing he was somehow involved in played in like the very first World Series.
What?
Or something like that. Yeah, it was something he was in the first of something major in baseball.
Wow.
Yeah.
He's man.
Yeah. So they definitely like made a big deal about something he did in baseball, and so yeah, very interesting legacy. And his wife passed. Former First Lady Barbara Bush passed. I want to say this summer. It was
earlier this year sometime.
Yeah,
I want to say it was like
only a few months ago.
April or May. I would say.
Yeah, late spring, early summer.
It was. But I was watching the program about him this morning, and just to see like the love that they had for each other, it was just like remarkable.
And remember when he got sick? He got sick like right after she passed, like a week after, and everybody thought he was gonna die, like right there. Yeah, and he hung on. Like he came out. And you were telling me, you reminded me how he skydived
on his 90th birthday. But they said he did that like almost every year for his birthday. He would jump out of a plane
or do something
Yeah. But at 90,
yeah, I remember them showing him doing it at 90. Yeah, and I can live to be 100, and you'll never see me jump out of a plane.
I want to do it.
Period. Okay, well, you have fun with that. And let me know
how I want to do it. I don't know when I'm going to do it, but I would like to do that.
All right. Well, you let me know how that is. It'll take a lot to get me to skydive.
I'll show the video.
I'm not for all that. Life is dangerous enough just walking around. Yeah.
You one of those.
Yeah, I'm not courting danger.
But again, rest in peace to our 41st president, George Herbert Walker Bush.
I guess we didn't say we spent a lot of time on it, but I'm glad we did.
He was a remarkable figure.
Yeah.
Whether you agree with his policies early on or whether you appreciate what happened post political career, I mean, like, just his legacy and just some of the things that he's done. Like, he's done more things than most people will ever do.
That's what I'm about. Like, when you break down somebody's life and they've lived that long, and you talk about, oh, okay, well, he went in the army and then he played baseball and he did this, the CIA did this, did that. I'm not saying you have to do those things, but when you do a bunch of different things like that and try to contribute, and that's what I want my life to be about.
My resume is long.
Yeah, I want my resume to be long in my life, and he lived his life. And then when you have your children and they follow in your footsteps, I mean, I can't imagine. I'm so jealous that forget being president, your son was president. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's that far after
only happened one other time.
John Adams.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean,
that was in the 1800s.
Correct. And that the joy that you have to see something like that. Yeah. No, I can't imagine that. But I'm not done with news, obviously, but there's a lot more news. But yeah, we can run some sports, unless you have some news.
I mean, my only news is that we've gone over an hour and 18 minutes.
Just in news.
Yeah.
Man, I don't know. I mean, what do you think?
I think that we can just put a capstone on this episode with our remarks about our former president.
Well, in that case, I'll put it this way. Spoiler alert. I mean, I do have some 45 news. I always have some 45 news. I just couldn't saturate it with the Brothas news. I'm gonna leave all that so I can go full steam in the 45.
Full steam.
That sounds horrible.
Full steam into 45.
That sounds terrible.
What are you even saying?
I will say this. Entertainment real quick. Creed 2, awesome. Not as good as the first one. Maybe we talked about it last week. I saw it again today. What else? I made a mistake on a couple episodes ago. I said that season 7 of Game of Thrones was coming on. Clearly, season 7 has just happened.
Yeah, it's gonna be. Isn't it
season 8?
But is it season 8 or is it season 7 part 2? Because I heard it was the second part of season 7.
Oh, I didn't hear that. I was under a distinct impression it was season 8, but it's not just straight up season 7 then. So to Sham's point, it's either season 7.2 like they did The Sopranos, where they broke it up. And put a little chicken wing on the second side, or season 8. But I think it's season 8.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, and since we're sitting here correcting errors, I said like many episodes ago that The Cool Kids, the show starring David Alan Grier, Leslie Jordan, Vicki Lawrence, and Martin Mull, was on FX on Thursday nights. It's actually on Fox on Friday nights.
Ooh, Friday nights though, that's not good.
Why is that not good? It's a show about old people.
Yeah, but
old people are in the house on Friday night. Where they at?
I don't know. Friday nights is usually like Monday and Thursday are like the big days, right? Wednesday is not bad, but Friday, isn't that usually like where they put a niche show and see if it tries to catch on? It's
also, Friday is usually the dumpster too. When you know
that's what I'm saying.
When you know a show is going to get canceled, they move it to Friday.
That's exactly.
But they usually start out on a night like Tuesday or Wednesday. This show started on a Friday, so obviously the expectations of it are not going to be super.
So like,
duper.
If it catches on, great.
Yeah, but it's a great show, and so I live in the.
You've been following it.
I live in the DVR universe. Yeah. So the day that it comes on is not necessarily the day I'm going to watch it anyway, which helps a lot of shows because the DVR numbers get added in after the Nielsen ratings for that night. So it could be one of those shows where they get more DVR viewers than actual Friday night viewers. So.
Yeah. And also entertainment news, Meek Mill came out with his album.
Yeah, and somebody already proclaimed it as one of the top 10 albums of all time. Stop playing. I wish there was a camera on my face right now. Stop playing.
You guys need to see the Sham disapproval face. It's it's remarkable. I was telling Sham earlier, and then we'll wrap this up. I was telling Sham earlier that there are times when I specifically do stuff and say stuff to meet with her disapproval just to see the face. Because she was legit asking, like, why do you say stuff like this? When, and most of the time it's about, like, my travails. And she'll say, like, this kind of stuff, like, disgusts me, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I do it just to see that look of disapproval. Yeah. So.
That's so uncool.
Man, we did all news.
Yeah, we did.
Man, we Al Jazeera out here.
It's funny.
Young Turks out here. Yeah. I could rock with that. I
mean, also, some episodes we're just gonna have, a little more focus on certain things.
We're starting to get feedback, guys. Yeah, we're up. I mean, should we say it? Should we pull back the curtain?
Hey, we have always been real with our listeners.
Yes, we have. Y'all part of the team.
Exactly.
Y'all part of the team. Okay. We're up now. And part of the feedback we've gotten is that a lot of people like our news more so than our sports. Not so much the way we talk about sports, but
some of them don't even care about sports.
I mean, that's where I'm going with that. They don't like sports. This was not a conscious decision today to not talk about sports, but the point being, we're trying to. The show is constantly growing, constantly evolving, and
I was gonna say this too. Like, I asked one of my college classmates, what he thought of our show, and he said, what's your angle? Why should I listen to you? Why should I care about what you have to say about certain things than other people? And my simple answer to that was because you like us.
Yeah.
Because
hopefully y'all like
because you like the way we deliver it, and you like our takes.
That's
I mean, and that could be said about anybody. Why do you listen to anyone? Because you like the way they deliver it. So if you like the way we do it more so than you like the way somebody else does it, then listen to us.
And on top of that, I'm glad you said it like that. You could like us and not like our opinion.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, a lot of what we're saying, we're very opinionated, both of us. And especially with the news stories and even with the sports stories. You can disagree with what we're saying, but hopefully you at least enjoy the way that, like you just said, the way we're delivering it, the way that we're talking about it. Enjoy even listening to us, even if you disagree with us.
Right.
There are a lot of people I completely... Matter of fact, that's what makes PTI so good. A lot of times, half the time, I completely disagree with Wilbon.
And it's not like they're telling us things that we don't already know.
That's right.
Because they don't.
We just want to hear their opinion about
it.
Yeah.
They don't come on until 5:30.
That's
Trust
right.
and believe. We've heard about a lot of the things that they're going to discuss, but the fact that their banter is so good, they're two people who just work, and you like to listen to them. They've been trying to copy them on their own network for years.
It's so disgraceful.
And they can't do it.
It's so disgraceful. They might as well just... Now, okay, before... I know we said we were going to wrap up, but you just really touched on something right there. You like... Okay, I like Bomani Jones as well.
I want to marry Bomani Jones and have his baby.
I don't like him like that. I don't like him like Sham likes him.
Bomani, get at me.
All right. In all seriousness, though, we haven't talked about this. What do you think of High Noon?
It's dry. It's so dry.
So what's wrong with it?
It doesn't. So it wants
and
to be.
High Noon is the show with Bomani Jones and what's his homeboy's name?
Pablo Torre.
Pablo Torre. Thank you.
It wants to be PTI so bad that it's disturbing. Yeah. I think that's what it does. It really wants to be PTI.
To the point where they have Kornheiser doing their commercial voiceovers.
Yeah, that's so weird.
I would have actively stayed away from that. Because the show is already trying to be PTI. Why would you remind everyone what it's trying to be?
Yeah. Yeah.
That was the wrong move.
Right. And, you know, Tony Kornheiser has playfully said that when he and Wilbon are done, those two will be the replacement. Or and they also said, what's the girl who does The Jump with
Rachel Nichols?
Rachel Nichols.
Yeah. They
said that she would be a possible replacement too. But yeah, I've actually gone back and started, and I've added. We are on Castbox and SoundCloud for those who don't know, and I've added
Stop Playing Podcast. You got to put the "the" in there.
You do.
That's been throwing people off.
The Stop Playing Podcast. And I've added High Noon to my subscriptions, and I went back and I started listening to some of them, and I'm just like, man, this is really underwhelming. Like, the information is great.
Yeah.
Because I mean, Bomani is great with information.
Yeah.
But it's just really lackluster compared to what they're trying to be.
Now, here's what I'll say. Here's my theory. I agree with everything you just said. Tony Kornheiser and Michael Wilbon clearly, I mean, just like me and you, or you and I should say, and a lot of people have said this about us. You could tell that off the air, they have the same type of discussions. And guys, don't think this for a second. Our shows are basically a watered down version of stuff that me and Sham talk about off air. We cuss, we fight, we do all this stuff. We have to temper it down for the podcast. When you look at Wilbon and Kornheiser, you naturally see their friendship. Now, I'm not saying Bomani Jones and Pablo Torre are clearly like they like each other. Like that's not cool. A problem, right? They're cool, but.
You think Bomani is hanging out at Pablo's house and Pablo's hanging out at Bomani's? No. And that's what that's what you're missing.
Kornheiser and Wilbon have known each other since they both worked for the Washington Post.
Since 1979.
Correct. And they came, Kornheiser was older, and actually Wilbon has cited this, like he kind of like was a mentor at first, and then they became basically equals. And then you got the racial component and everything else. You have that component. What I'm saying is, and it's the same thing when they bring in like guests. It's like, okay, I understand you need two people to like speak, but the dynamic is not there. People say about you and I, you can tell we're friends. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, there has to be a natural chemistry. I'm not saying you have to be friends. I'm saying that there has to be a chemistry. I don't think that they've gotten that yet. I think that on the surface, they believe that people should believe that they have it, but it's not there. Will it grow? Sure, maybe. It needs some time, but they better hurry up. They better hurry up.
I would like to try out my chemistry with Bomani Jones. Hint, hint. Get at me.
I was trying to end it on a dignified note, man, but Sham is just shooting her shot apparently. And Bomani Jones ever listens to episode 17? Man. I mean, I think he heard you the first time.
Oh, I didn't know if I was clear. Anyway, on that note,
for real, that's about the biggest thirst trap y'all ever see for Sham.
Yeah, Sham doesn't shoot shots. But she shot that one.
Shot the hell out of it. I'm done. I'm not saying anything else.
All right.
Have a good night, guys.
All right, guys. Thanks again for listening to the Stop Playing podcast. We appreciate each one of you. And remember, please keep your chips on the plate.